Can I just say, I love reviewing movies. Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask you to hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
Come on. Do it! Do it!
Beast follows a recently widowed Idris Elba and his 2 teenage daughters as they travel to a South African game reserve managed by an old family friend. This vacation soon turns into a fight for survival when a rogue lion begins to stalk them.
Now what the fuck are we supposed to do?
Okay, full disclosure, I have a soft spot for man vs. beast movies. Whether it's bears, crocodiles, sharks, or lions, there's just something about these very simple stories and the somewhat primal nature of them that appeals to me. So much so that they don't even necessarily have to be good in order for me to have a good time with it. They really just have to do a few basic things. And Beast does those basic things for the most part.
Hold on to your butts.
As for the setup of this movie, yes, we've seen a lot of this before. The characters are having some type of personal conflict, and they're gonna work that shit out by fighting off and surviving an animal attack. Stop me if you've heard that before. I was able to telegraph a good portion of this movie, and one of the main reasons for that is the foreshadowing isn't all that subtle. Let me put it this way, I pretty much guessed how this movie would end, based on a very obvious exposition dump and educational moment early in the film. So yes, some aspects to this movie are very predictable.
Not impressed.
The characters are a bit cliche based on their backstory, but I have to say they still come off very likable, and I still found myself pulling for them. It's very easy to make teenage girl characters obnoxious. Usually that happens when you have them recite cringe dialogue that sounds like it was written by a 40-year-old man, because it usually is.
I'm too old for this shit.
But that didn't happen in this movie. They sounded very natural, and they delivered decent performances. And then we come to Idris Elba, and I'm going to go on record right now and say, I don't think an actor has been more underutilized in Hollywood than he has. In fact, usually he's a lot better than the movie he is acting in. Which is the case a little bit here, but oftentimes also his screen presence kind of elevates the material. And that's also the case here. Idris Elba can make any movie a bit more tolerable. If you don't believe me, he's pretty much the only thing that got me through that god-awful fucking Suicide Squad movie.
I don't know.
Typically with movies like this, there are a lot of moments that are far-fetched and outside the realm of any kind of real possibility, and I'm here to tell you, yes, Beast is guilty of that as well. We get a reason why the rogue lion is behaving the way that it is. Now, as much as I may agree with the animal's reasoning and think he's completely justified in acting the way he is, I don't know why we needed a reason in the first place. When an animal reacts this way and goes out for revenge, it reminds me a bit too much of Jaws the Revenge, and nobody wants to be reminded of that movie.
That's right, it stinks!
I understand that it's usually done to protect the animal itself and not paint that species in any kind of bad light for entertainment purposes. And I do appreciate that as an animal lover, but for a fictional story, I just don't need an explanation for why they're acting the way they act. In the original Jaws, we didn't need an explanation for why the shark killed people. It was just a big fucking shark doing big fucking shark things.
3 tons on them.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that less is more in these situations, typically. What I really enjoyed about this movie, and honestly it was something that I was not expecting, was, believe it or not, some of the camera work. First of all, the full beauty of Africa is on display here. I always appreciate when a movie takes the time to showcase a specific location that it takes place in. And in this movie, rather than just doing a bunch of cuts like we would typically see, there's actually quite a few long takes that follow the characters from room to room or location to location.
What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie?
I enjoy that kind of stuff because it actually helps to build tension. Especially when you see movement in the background from time to time and you find yourself scanning the environment. It makes it feel like the Beast could strike at any moment, and he actually does. I found the attack scenes to be pretty brutal. I could have done without the use of CGI the entire time. I think if they worked in some shots of some real lions like they used to do in movies, it could have went a long way to making the animal feel more real, and in effect make him feel like more of a threat.
Shark still looks fake.
If I've said this once, I've said it a million times. I think Hollywood's reliance on CGI now holds a lot of modern movies back. Overall, I found Beast to be predictable and cliche in some spots, but I also still found quite a bit of enjoyment with it, mostly due to the solid performances of the cast, and a bit more advanced camera work than I was expecting to see in a movie like this.
I like it a lot.
I think it was a great decision to have this movie clock in at a brisk hour and 30-minute runtime. That's right in the sweet spot for a movie like this, I think. Listen, it's not going to change your life, but let's face it, not every movie needs to. Sometimes you go into a movie just wanting to have a good time, and that allows you to look past some typical flaws. For that reason, I think Beast is more than deserving of yet another Cathouse.
Saved by kitty litter.
I apologize for all the Cathouse ratings recently, but it just kind of feels like that's where we are with cinema right now. Listen, a flawed but fun experience is a lot better than me hating myself after watching a movie. I'm looking at you, Thor: Love and Thunder.
Fuck you! Y'all be cool. Right on.